Welcome, my minions. Let me give you a little history lesson. Hachorak, Bloodrive as a project has been around for a long time. If you really dig back, the core elements have existed as early as 2007. The current iteration only really started to come into being around 2022, but some parts of it go back to 2020 during the lockdown era. That's what we'll take a look at. The Wormbird and the Birdworm. You can tell from the names that these designs were not incredibly inspired. Back then I didn't have a solid image of what I want the setting to be, which meant most of the critters I created existed in this weird vacuum. Like the chicken and the egg, you need a setting to define the creatures, but you also need the creatures to define the setting to some degree. I used to, and still do, have a bad habit of keeping the best for last, always with the thought that I'll tackle that stuff when I'm better, more skilled, so I can keep cutting my teeth on low-stakes filler. Which is where the Wormbird comes in, critters I could use to get a feel for the world. Back in the 2020 iteration, before Bloodrive even had a name, the creatures were much closer to a standard fantasy or speculative evolution world. During that time I also had a fascination with mimicry and circular food chains, which you can see with how the birds, worms and lemurs all feed on each other. Which brings us to our question: how would I adapt these designs to Hachorak in its current state? With this being a touch-up rather than a full revamp, I want to keep the key elements of a design the same. That means keeping the colors and especially the silhouette as close to the original as I can. First, the core elements of the Wormbird are the bulging eyes, the long beak and the fat, stubby body. Those are the parts that I want to keep. Basic design rule I have now is that no beast should ever have 4 limbs and 2 eyes. That doesn't mean I can't bend this rule a little though. By giving the bird 4 eyes but fusing them, I could retain the silhouette and still keep this alien aesthetic that I'm going for. And rather than give it the 4-legged griffin look I usually go for nowadays, I give it 4 very small wings, making it look very mundane at a glance. Having 4 eyes and 4 wings also implies at least some connection to Shiraya, but that's not really important, at least right now. An interesting consideration with these designs are the colors and elemental types. In the project's early days, I didn't have a properly defined elemental chart yet, so the bird and worm were just red for no particular reason. Finches are red, so the bird should be red. That's the level of thought I was operating at. That's just kind of how it is when you're feeling out a project. A lot of the stuff has to be reworked retroactively once you really figure out the rules. The worm is easier. Making it a blood-type Hasherite creature is pretty much a no-brainer. And I figured since the bird's already red and the two have this rivalry going on, I might as well make the bird sanguine too. Even if it's somewhat arbitrary, I think it's a happy accident that it ends up fitting into Hachorak's themes pretty nicely, the god, not the setting, of growth, birth, and cyclical consumption. Next, lesser engines. This is a topic I spent quite a while thinking about and how I want to broach it. In the end we're here. By sheer force of circumstance, I'm introducing them without too much fanfare. Fitting, I suppose, since they're the bottom of the barrel of engines. To put it simply, a lesser engine is made of beasts that aren't even strong enough to be turned into a proper engine. You may remember lesser beasts from that one video. Instead, the souls of several individuals are stitched together by an imbuer and then diffracted, creating something resembling a proper engine. It doesn't get more ghetto than this. Lesser engines are a blank state, like a set of no-brand power armor. They offer the base creature's elemental affinity and animal type, simple combat arts, and of course the ability to morph weapons, but nothing else really. Regardless of what the base animal is, the engine itself will be more or less identical. They're not really used that often, since hunters who are strong enough to become a driver will usually have access to at least a basic beast of some sort. But not always, especially the Cormagan, the Skullmen and the Morsamites and even the Huron often have to make do with scraps, and this is the result. The thing to remember is that most people treat these as a stopgap, something to keep you going just that little while longer. Plenty of hunters have died wearing this kind of armor, but even more have lived. The lemurs and diffraction will be up next, hopefully soon. I hope you look forward to it. If you're watching this in the future, congratulations, you can watch the video right away. That's all for now though. Ciao.